Hello students. Okay, in this video we're going to teach you a very important algebraic skill which is called substituting and evaluating. So let's get started. So the first question, evaluate the expression 2b subtract a when a equals 3 and b equals 10. Okay, well, to do questions like this where you're asked to evaluate an expression, the first thing we always do is just copy the expression, like so. And now we're going to substitute. So in this particular expression, we're saying we know that the value of a is 3. So in place of 3, in place of a, I'm going to put 3. And in place of b, I'm going to put 10. Now I'm going to make a deliberate mistake here because I've seen students do things like this. They see 2b and in place of b they write a 10. Now the trouble with that, of course, is it looks like the number here is 210 rather than 2 times 10. So when we're substituting, in this particular case, we need to clearly show that we're multiplying. So there's a couple of ways we can do it. We could use the x with a multiply sign. We could use brackets, or we could use a dot to represent multiply. And I think I'll use the dot in this case. And I should always write the equal sign out the front. That expression equals that when we do the substitution. And then finally, 2 times 10 is 20. 20 subtract 3 is 17. Okay, a very important point. Whenever the instruction is evaluate, that means you end up with a number. So evaluate, it has the word value built into it. It means you need to come up with a numerical answer. Okay, let's have a look at a slightly harder problem down here. The expression that we're given is 2x squared minus 3y, and we'll be substituting these two negative numbers in for x and y. So in place of x, I'm going to put negative 3. Now, one thing you need to recall is whenever you're squaring a negative number, we put the negative number in brackets. And the y is also negative, so I might as well be consistent, and I'll put that in brackets as well. Okay, let's go ahead and evaluate. If you're using a calculator in particular, and you leave the brackets off when you're squaring a negative number, the calculator is going to give you an incorrect answer. So it's very important whenever you're squaring or raising to a power a negative number that you put brackets around the number. Okay, let's do this one in our heads. We square before we multiply. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And I'm going to change subtract to add the negative, so I get plus negative 3 times negative 1. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's positive 3. And the answer is 21. So when I substitute x equals negative 3 and y equals negative 1 into the expression and evaluate, I get the answer 21. I'll give that a tick. Okay. The other way you could be asked to substitute and evaluate is when you're given an equation, in this case y equals 2x cubed minus 1, and you're asked to complete a table of values. So it's pretty much the same as we did before. We're going to go through and substitute each of these values of x into the expression on the right. So y equals 2 times, in brackets, negative 2 all cubed, subtract 1. Well, once again, we need to put the brackets around it because it's a negative number. Negative 2 by negative 2 by negative 2. Well, negative times a negative is a positive, so that's positive 4. and then positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So that's going to be 2 times negative 8, subtract 1. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, subtract 1. And I could change that to add negative, or I could just subtract. Negative 16 plus negative 1 is negative 17. Okay, now the other three, the numbers I think are easy enough. We can just do it mentally. We don't need to do the setting out. So 0 to the power of 3, 0 times 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, and 0 subtract 1 is negative 1. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times this 2 is 16. 16 minus 1 is 15. And the last number, when x is 4, 4 to the power of 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Times 2 is 128. Minus 1 is 127. So what we've done in this equation is we were given an equation, and we were given a table where we're given the x values, and we substituted each of those into the expression on the right and evaluated. And that's all there is to substituting and evaluating.